Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a great morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to our second webinar where we introduce our new master program in water and sustainable development. If you are logged into Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching from, you will have the opportunity to ask questions by using the chat. And I would really encourage you to say hi, introduce yourself, and let us know where you're from, because we're expecting quite an international audience, as always. Questions that you can ask, of course, in the duration of this webinar can be about the setup of our new program, about how to register for it, or anything else that you're wondering about with respect to this new program. Let me start by introducing myself. I'm Laura Kwak. I work in the communication office of IHE Delft, and I will be your webinar host today. My colleague Ewout Kok, also from the communication office, is making sure that everything runs smoothly behind the scenes. So he will be bringing up your questions when you ask them and when he thinks they're important for us to answer. And so feel free to already share the pressing questions that you have already now. First off, I would like to introduce our Vice Rector Academic and Student Affairs and also Professor of Hydraulic Engineering for Water Development, Charlotte Fraiture. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes, glad that you can join us with me to open this webinar. I think it would be fun to start off with just a few questions about what it's like to study at IHE. So in your opinion, what are like top reasons to study at IHE Delft?
Well, of course, we provide top-notch education, all in the field of water. But I think what is really the nicest part of IHE Delft is that it's very truly international. So if you come and study here, you will meet a lot of new people. And so on an average here, we have more 70 plus nationalities in our students population. So and also people come from different backgrounds, from engineering, from governance, from sanitation, water supply, etc., etc. So there's a huge diversity in nationalities, but also in backgrounds, and so that makes it very nice to study here, because you will hear from a lot of people. You go away with a great network from water professionals. So I think that is really a unique thing that's for IHE Delft.
Great. And I think besides being just international, I think we also have a mid-career professional population within our students. And how does that add on to the learning experience at IHE?
Yeah, so we most of our students, they come here with a few years of working experience, and they take that into the learning and in the classroom. So as I said, I mean, we have this variety of people coming in, but also if you have experience, you're really encouraged and to share that experience with others, and also with different fields. So you will learn a lot from your other students, but you will be enabled to share that experience and also put your own experience in the context of what you're learning. So you can immediately apply theories and other things that you're learning. You can immediately apply and translate that to your own experiences. So that's really enriching for your own learning experience, but also the learning experience of others that are in the same classroom.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I've heard that from students as well. And I think one of the other things that we pride ourselves on is that we are not just focused on one subject area, but we have all of the water sort of subjects under one roof. And I think that also helps. Even when you're very targeted about one certain subject, you also experience the many subjects surrounding that subject. Yeah.
So the of course all water challenges and problems are multi and interdisciplinary. So yes, it's very there's if you try to address a water problem, a water challenge, there's always more disciplines involved. It's nice to kind of have that all those disciplines under one roof. And IHE Delft is actually a small institute. So after studying here for a few months, you already know most of your students, and so that really kind of facilitates the interaction between students themselves, but also of course among the staff or
Yeah,
students
because
and staff.
yeah, talking about being a small institute, I think also we're quite our staff members and also our academic staff members are quite approachable. And could you maybe let us know a little bit about our lecturing colleagues at IHE Delft?
Yeah, so actually, most of our teaching staff and professors they're quite well known in their field. They have experience. They have an international experience in the field, so yeah, they're quite well known, and they are all very driven and very enthusiastic about their own field. So they're more than happy to share that with you, with students here at IHE Delft, and so they, as you said, they are very approachable. It's very easy to basically approach people here with your questions, and as I said, because they are so motivated and driven, they're actually quite willing to help. What is also, I should not forget to mention that. I mean, we also have guest lecturers, and those guest lecturers they come in for a few days, or sometimes a little bit longer. Quite often they are again international. They have practical experience, and some of them are really well-known big names in the field of water. So I think also guest lecturers make studying at IHE Delft very worthwhile.
Okay, and I think maybe another positive aspect of IHE Delft is the location and the city of Delft. Because, of course, we have the nice historical city, but it's also a student city, so there's plenty of opportunities for going out. But I think the location of Delft in the Netherlands and within Europe can also enrich a student's experience when studying with us.
Yeah, indeed, we are really centrally located, also in Delft. I mean, we are just opposite the railway station, so it's literally 2 minutes walk to the railway station. But indeed, as you're saying, it's a student town. So it's lively. It has a relatively small historic center, and it's a safe town. So it's easy to go out at night. Of course, Corona permitting nowadays,
Yeah.
but yeah, you can just go out and enjoy the city. But also in Europe, I mean, and as I said, we are opposite the railway station, so you can easily hop on a train and visit other cities, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and all kind of other cities in the Netherlands, and also outside the Netherlands. It's close to Belgium, France, Germany. Even you can go to the UK. So yeah, it's really centrally located.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Going to UK by train, even under the
Indeed.
sea.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Indeed. No.
Okay. So maybe as a final question, what kind of students do you think would be super interested in studying with us?
Well, I mean, of course, with the right background, and you will elaborate that on later in this seminar. But in general, motivated people and driven people who really would like to contribute to solving the water problems in the world. And as you know, we face many water problems and challenges at the moment. So we're basically looking for people who are motivated and driven to contribute to solving those problems.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, indeed, driven people will match up with our staff members because everybody is very, very involved with his or her subject area. So, yes, Charlotte, thank you very much for joining me for introducing this. And yeah, have a nice day for the rest.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Thank you
Okay,
for having
bye.
me. Yep.
So that was the kickoff of this webinar. What we have lined up for you next is a video by our colleague, Professor Graham Jewett. He's professor of hydrology, and he has recorded a video that explains a bit of the ins and the outs of our new master program. After we're done watching that, I will be introducing a small panel of two of my colleagues, and they will be able to address questions that you may have. I can already warn you that we will not be able to answer every single question that you have in this webinar. But yeah, we will share with you what to do with your questions if there's any remaining. And we really do hope that we get to your questions, but we want to have a varied sort of question and answer session after the video. So yeah, sit back and relax and watch the next 9 minutes or so of our colleague Graham explaining the new program to you.
Is our most important resource. From its role as a life-sustaining liquid to its cultural and spiritual values, water has and always will be intricately enmeshed with humans and the society's environment in which we live. Over the past 60+ years, IHE Delft Institute for Water Education has provided education and training programs on different aspects of water. Since our inception as a technical institute dealing almost exclusively with floods, through to the inclusion of integrated water resources management and aspects of management and governance in our programs. And now, in the time of sustainable development goals and the imperatives of addressing issues associated with climate change, IHE Delft remains a leading institution globally when it comes to delivering relevant and topical education programs. Our extensive alumni network across the world bears testament to this. Water is a big deal on the global agenda, and I'm sure in your country too. So the interest in studying water and its role in sustainable development is really at an all-time high. And of course, associated with this is that people from different backgrounds and with different interests become interested in water and have different entry points in which they would like to study water. So as society evolves, so do we at IHE, and that provides the impetus for a brand new master's program, the Master of Science in Water and Sustainable Development. My name is Graham Jewett. I'm Professor of Hydrology and Vice Chair of the committee which has been developing our new Master of Science. In this short video, I'd like to explain some of the key elements which form the new degree structure at IHE Delft and the options that you have to join us. The program is focused on managers and practitioners and aims to provide skills to support you in the job that you will do when you return home. Very importantly, this will take only 1 year to complete. It is still a fully fledged MSc accredited by the Dutch MVO. That's the organization responsible for accreditation of education programs here in the Netherlands. Of course, being a 1-year program also means that hard work is expected from the students. But as our program evolves, so do our education approaches. And we believe that we have created a truly innovative education program that will be achievable in 12 months. That program kicks off in 2022, and we are welcoming applications now. At IHE, we fully recognize that the nature of water-related problems and development options needs an interdisciplinary approach. So while we retain our disciplinary strength in the new program, we also provide training for the more general scientists and many opportunities for interdisciplinary collaboration, such as specific weeks in which students from all disciplines interact, and fieldwork and group projects. In fact, this philosophy of interdisciplinarity underpins the program. We've really looked at the structure and content of the new degree and thought carefully about the skills and topics that are going to support water and sustainable development in the future. So you will see that core components like hydrology, hydraulics, environmental sciences, wastewater treatment, sanitation, governance and management, and others are there, but have had a refresh to gear them towards the future. This translates into 4 clear tracks which address these major water challenges. Water, food and energy, water hazards, risks and climate, water and health, and water resources and ecosystem health. Let's now look at the specifics of the program. It has been designed to give you some choice about the topics you study, so when you apply, you begin by choosing one of 4 tracks and a profile in that track. These profiles are engineering and hydrology, management and governance, environment, sanitation, and digital innovation, something we see as a big topic for the future. So here are 2 examples. You have a background in civil engineering and you wish to explore the linkages between drainage and sewerage and treatment processes and technologies and their planning and management, including the financing of water treatment plants. So this profile designed in the water and health track will prepare you for this. Or you have a background in environmental sciences and agriculture, and you are interested in developing sustainable water resources management solutions with a focus on ecosystems which produce food for people. So think about rice from wetlands or aquaculture in a lake. You could then follow an environmental profile within the water resources and ecosystem health or the water, food and energy tracks. So these are only 2 examples, and since everyone has different requirements and different interests, we also recognize that the nature of water and the people who engage with water don't always follow strict profiles. So there's also an opportunity for you to build your own profile. Now, this is something which is done in discussion with your coach, which is another innovation in the new MSc program. Coaches are there to support and guide you as you move through the program. They make sure that you're comfortable with the choices of your modules, or they suggest sensible alternatives. Then, of course, it wouldn't be a Master of Science without a research component. Now, most likely you will start thinking about your research thesis after about 3 months into the program, maybe for some a bit before that. Once again, your coach will assist you to make the best choice of topic for your career goals. You may want to co-design a topic with your employer, or you could choose a subject which addresses a specific need of your country. Or perhaps you want to focus on an issue with a view to working in the development field in the future. IHE Delft is quite a small institute, but we have a very large reputation. At IHE, you will get to know students and staff from all over the world, and you will hear about the water challenges and experiences that they bring. This also means that you will get to know people from many other disciplines and learn from them and their experiences. Our alumni tell us that the highlights of their time at IHE are the field trips, both in and outside of the Netherlands, life in Delft, which is a very safe and friendly city, the different cultural evenings and festive events organized by staff and students, and making friends for life from all over the world. The alumni of IHE make up one of the largest water networks in the world. There are now more than 23,000 former students, most of them still working in water or related fields. So, we invite you to join the MSc program, graduate from the MSc program, and join that extensive network of our alumni.
So I hope that video clarified some things for you about this new program. Up next, like I said, we have a panel of 2 of my colleagues. One of them is Ineke Melis and the other is Laszlo Heide. Ineke is Senior Fellowship and Admission Officer at IHE Delft, and she deals with the admission and all sorts of questions coming from MSc, potential MSc students. And Laszlo Heide, he's Senior Lecturer in Irrigation Engineering, but more importantly in this case, he's also the Program Manager of this new MSc program in Water and Sustainable Development. So I will bring them on screen with me. And yes, hi, welcome. Glad you can both join us.
Hello, everybody.
Maybe to kick things off, I have a question for you, Ineke. Can you maybe walk us through the registration process at IHE Delft?
Yes, so before you start with your application, it's important to first study the contents of the program and the various tracks and profiles that are offered, and then decide which one would suit you best. So take into account your academic background, your work experience, your motivation and future plans. There's a lot of information about this at the website, so please read this first and then make up your mind which one you would prefer. Then also check on the website all information about the admission requirements and the application procedure to know what it is about and what you have to prepare. We also have a page with frequently asked questions. So maybe you have some doubts. So please go to that page first and see if you find the answer there. Then checks which document you need to upload when you start your application and prepare those documents in advance. And then on the website, you find a button to apply, and you will first be asked to create a user account and then fill in your personal data, prior education and work experience. And then you can select the program. Then you will be requested to answer 5 motivation questions. So it's important you think well about it and have already decided which track and profile you would prefer, and then answer those motivation questions. And then there will be a place where you have to upload your CV, bachelor degree, and your bachelor transcript, and if applicable in your case, the results of an English language test. And then you click the submit button, and then we will handle your application, and in about 4 weeks you will be informed about the outcome.
Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. And I think if people forget some of this, they can refer to our website and find all the information there step by step. So thanks for clarifying it. And maybe related to this question, what happens before you come to IHE and what you need to do. Laszlo, could you maybe share in terms of this new master program, what happens before you come and study at IHE? What is the role of the coaches that were just discussed in the film, and what are these prep courses?
Well, that is quite an interesting question, because I think these are very important parts of the new program we are developing. One of them is, as you mentioned, also the online preparatory courses, and I think it was also mentioned in the video briefly. Maybe you can show my slide, which gives some explanation about the entire program, which was also visible during the video. But you see that big round spot at the beginning, which is right before starting the program. So when you already applied and you are academically admitted, you also get access to the online preparatory courses. Those are basic things. So some of you, as also in the application process, it was mentioned that some of you might have already a couple of years practical experience, meaning that your studies in your bachelor studies were a couple of years ago. So to refresh your knowledge in certain basic things, like, for instance, microbiology, chemistry, statistics, hydrology, hydraulics, those might be important, and you would like to check your own knowledge. And these courses will be online, and you will be able to test yourself in those. And then you can also join to the program later. Now, as for the coaching, actually, each of the students during their studies and even before starting their studies, but also during their studies, they are requested to create a personal portfolio and go also for the objectives, the goals in their future career, and this is the way to develop their own program within the master program here at IHE. That's about the coaching, and even before you start your studies, also selecting the preparatory courses and so on, the coaches will help you. So there will be the opportunity to meet the assigned coach and discuss your objectives and so on. They will help you to set your own learning goals and access also the different things, different platforms of IHE as well.
Okay. And I think in your previous slide, I also saw something interesting. There's not only modules, but also mixed weeks. What are these mixed weeks? What do they entail?
Yeah, actually, when you see the setup of the program, there are the track modules. Those are the black boxes, basically numbered 2, 3, 4, and so on. And in between those, there are the mixed weeks. The mixed weeks are partly, the first few days of that week are partly designed for the examinations of the previous module. So those will be the main activity at the beginning of the week. And the rest of the week will be used also for portfolio discussions with your coaches and further developing your portfolio, which was started already during the declaration when you are going to choose your modules, but also skill development. Now, as it was mentioned by Professor Graham Hewitt in the video, this program is focused on managers and practitioners, but also aims to provide skills to support you in your jobs later on. So those are the skill developments, and basically the theoretical background of those skills. What are we talking about? Self-regulated learning, working in groups, for instance, critical reading, scientific writing, or effective communication. So these skills, the theoretical background, will be also discussed in those mixed weeks. And then in the next module, they will be practiced also. So during your studies in the next module, you will practice all these skills and the development of those in yourself. And that will help you. So this is how the program is built up as a mixture of modules and those mixed weeks, as you mentioned.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. Maybe, Ineke, a question for you. I heard mentioned work experience. Is it a definite requirement that people need to have so many years of work experience to be able to apply? Or is it optional?
It's not a strict requirement. It's an asset if applicants have that. But most sponsors will require it. Like, for instance, we have the OKP, the Orange Knowledge Program. Most of our students have a scholarship from the Orange Knowledge Program, and there it is a requirement. And also for the World Bank scholarships, then it is students need to have 5 years of work experience in order to be eligible for the scholarship. But for academic admission, it's not really a requirement. Then it's the bachelor degree and the transcript. Also, young graduates may apply, but then we need, instead of the diploma, a statement of the university that they will graduate before the financial confirmation deadline. But most of our students are mid-career professionals, so most of them will have it, and that's an asset.
Yeah, and also, like we heard from Charlotte, it really enriches the experience to have a lot of mid-career professionals in the classroom. And I think I will now give the floor to our colleague Ewout to share a couple of questions to the screen. There's the first one already. How could a fresh graduate student with 1 or 0 years experience benefit from the programs that are designed for managers and practitioners? Is there any part-time internship that could be provided to improve? This last question I'm not quite getting, but maybe let's start with the first one. How can a fresh graduate student benefit from this program? Maybe Laszlo, this one's for you.
Yeah, okay. Well, first of all, I always try to tell to our students to use the experience that they can work together. So, well, and we ourselves, being staff members in IHE, we also enjoy the opportunity to learn from those students who are coming with a certain experience in a certain field. Now, so that kind of mixture and interdisciplinarity also, which was mentioned several times by the vice rector and also in the video, I think those are important assets also in IHE and studying at IHE. So I would say that it is not really a problem for somebody who does not have any practical experience to learn from the others. Students are working in groups, working in international groups, working in interdisciplinary groups. They can also learn from each other. So it's not really, well, but also answering the second question, actually, we are not providing internship. We have some practical, and this is kind of a practical master program. So that is helping also, and also there is the interdisciplinary project, there is field work where we are doing really activities, not only in groups and not only in the classroom, but also in laboratory measurements, also in field measurements and so on. So I would say that the mixture of the students, those who have already experience and those who do not have experience, is not really a problem. Or at least I did not recognize any of such problem during my 19 years working for IHE.
Ooh, that's quite impressive. And I think, Ineke, you've also been working at IHE for some time. I see another question, but thanks, Laszlo, for that answer. Indeed, I think in the one-year program, there's also no time to have an internship period because it's quite condensed and quite full of information. So we have a question from Eli Saliba. I mean to enhance the knowledge that we are getting from the courses you provide and gain experience at the same time. I'm trying to understand the questions, but
it's referring to the previous question.
Oh, okay.
It's the same.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same person. Yeah.
Well, I would say that, well, as you also mentioned, Laura, that, well, there is not too much time for getting the experience at the same time. Of course, we cannot prepare anybody for knowing everything by leaving IHE, definitely not. But having an attitude towards problems and being able to continue lifelong learning, that's another thing what we emphasize quite often. So when somebody is graduating at IHE, well, we also experience that the graduates are really serving well in their jobs and making promotions relatively quickly in their jobs. So that is the way to experience and practice the knowledge gained all around the studies.
Okay. There's a next question. How many in total modules do you have to do? Are there any core modules that one cannot miss?
Well, maybe if you can show my slide again, and then we can go back to this setup here, which shows clearly that there are those modules. Actually, from 1 to 8, those are obligatory modules. 1 and 8 are colored in a different way, which means that those are more common institute-wide, the introductory weeks and also the interdisciplinary projects. Then you are mixed in an interdisciplinary way. The others, the black ones, are the track modules. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and that gives already the number as an answer for the question. Those have to be chosen from the different tracks and from the different profiles. And of course, the mixed weeks in between the examinations and so on. So these are the obligatory number of modules, but the selection of the modules can be based on personal portfolio, personal objectives, and so on. And then comes the research proposal development period of time, followed by the MSc thesis research, as was also mentioned in the video. That is also an important part, the thesis research part. And that goes on for several months, as you can see also. So this is the setup, basically. And, well, also you see that the portfolio, the skill development is mentioned here. But also maybe I can go towards the selection of the modules. And, well, maybe here the thesis research is guided by the mentor and the supervisor. Those are specific topics relevant for your country and region, and possibly co-designed with your employer. So that is the best if you can do something realistic and real for your home country. So that's basically the setup of the program, and I hope that this gives also the answer for the number of modules. But of course, the selection of the modules is depending on the personal goals.
Okay, thanks. Another question. What are the prospects of selection of a candidate coming from architecture and urban planning background? So indeed, I think this is more about somebody coming from the architecture and urban planning field. Are they eligible, and will they be selected? Maybe Ineke, can you maybe answer this question? From which backgrounds are we seeking students?
Yes, of course, there are various backgrounds. You can also find that on the website. It depends a bit per track, the profile which you are selecting. But this, with this background, it's important to see the transcript, because then we see all the subjects that the student followed, and then see if this applicant has water-related experience and what is the motivation. In principle, it's not a background which we usually accept, but it may be possible now with this new program that the student has already work experience in the field of water, and it's very motivated to switch. And then, while if the student will do extra preparatory courses, then the applicant can be admitted. But it's something we need to see the whole picture. It's difficult just to answer this question by only knowing the discipline. So we really need to see the complete application documents.
So would you say that then, when in doubt of your background, try and sign up for our program anyway?
Yeah, of course, you know that if you have relevant work experience and you have done some subjects, which are also preparatory courses, then maybe the applicants can be admitted. But it's difficult to say that now. We really need to have more information and have the CV.
Okay. Another question is, are we free to choose whatever modules they want? I think this one is for you, Laszlo. Yeah. Can you just pick and choose whatever, or?
It's a very interesting question. And if you would like to have a short answer, then I can say yes. If you would like to have a longer answer, then I can say no. So that might mean that, with certain conditions, yes. So yes, it is possible to choose whatever modules you like, but with discussion with your coach. And that means that it really has to fit into a worked out personal portfolio in which direction you would like to turn your life and you would like to lead your life. So that means that, theoretically, yes, you are free to choose. But there are certain things what will determine your choice. Also your background. Also there are certain prerequisites of the certain studies in the certain modules. Those are not necessarily linked to the previous module, but it might be also linked to some kind of skills, professional skills, or knowledge you already have in a certain area. So these will determine your potential selection or possible selection.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. Is there an age limit in obtaining the OKP scholarship? And I think, Ineke, if you're talking about this question, maybe you can say some things about the entire OKP scholarship.
Yeah, there's not an age limit. And the OKP, yeah, it's a scholarship program of the Netherlands government, and it will be offered again for this new program. Application is expected to open in the second week of February. And you need to have an academic admission for the program in order to be eligible. So therefore, it is advisable that you apply for admission as soon as possible. Then another requirement is that you are employed and that your employer agrees that you are going to study for a year and that they continue paying your salary. So you have to arrange the statement with your employer. And it's important then to also consult with your employer, because the scoring of applicants will be done by Netherlands Embassy, and they have all a country focus. So you find a list with the country focus for each country on our website. So it's good to check what is the country focus for your country. Is also that not all countries are eligible. There is a list of eligible countries. So you first have to check if your country is really eligible for OKP scholarship. And other requirement is also English. If you are required to submit English test results, it's important that you register to do an English test as soon as possible, because you require an unconditional admission for being eligible.
Okay, and I see there's already another question coming in about the OKP scholarship. It says Nepal was previously listed as a country and is now removed. And what's the reason?
Yeah, that's the policy of our government. So we from IHE do not decide about the country list. So it's a government policy, and quite some countries have been removed the last 2 years. So yeah, it's really a pity, but that's something that we cannot help. So
Yeah,
in your case, if you're from Nepal, then it's best that you look for other scholarship possibilities. So because all scholarship possibilities that we know of are mentioned on our website. So please go through it and then see for which one you would be eligible and submit an application for admission. Always do that as soon as possible, because for most sponsors an admission letter is required.
Okay, that's very clear. And I think also, indeed, all students seeking scholarship opportunities, really take a look at our website. There are lots of alternatives. There's the World Bank Scholarship, Rotary scholarships, of course, and all of the details that we know about, they are definitely described on the website. So please check out our scholarship page if you're seeking scholarships, and do try out for, I would say, all of the ones that you're eligible for, right, Ineke?
Yeah, indeed, that's what we advise, because there's always a big competition, of course. So just try, if you are eligible, try the various possibilities, and and then you make a greater chance to get the funding and really come to study here. Also, if you find on the list that your country is there's not one scholarship for which you are eligible, then do apply for admission. It's free of charge, and sometimes suddenly scholarships come up. We haven't heard about it, and a new scholarship program comes up, and you may be eligible for that one. And then we have to handle quickly, and we will inform applicants who have been admitted about it. So this also happens sometimes.
Yeah. So please apply for all the ones that you are eligible for. Another question that's already popped up are, what are the job prospects after completing the master course? Laszlo.
Well, that's an interesting question, and would be nice to know more about the background of the person asking this. Which country are you from, and so on. So it's difficult to answer in general. But I would say that our programs, and if you look at the content, if you study the program and the content of the program in our website, you will see that basically, as also mentioned during the discussion of Laura and our vice rector, that all water-related fields and all water-related environmental fields are touched somehow in the different parts of the program. So I would say that all potentials are there. We have students who are going back to education afterwards, universities, different levels of education related to water. We have students who are going back to different ministry departments and working in the management operation. There are students, graduates who are going back to, as alumni of IHE, they are going back to practical work in the field. Construction, design, and all different elements. So it's difficult to answer in general, but I would say very wide opportunities are there.
Oh, there's already another question. I was going to say, I think you have a slide, Laszlo, about the alumni. I'm going to bring up your slides. I think you have one about the alumni, which is nice to show. And if people are also wondering about what our alumni get up to, there's a whole section on our website dedicated to them. So check out the news and check out what they're currently doing. We share stories about them as well. So to get an impression of the kinds of things that they end up working on. So going right into the next.
We try to keep contact with our alumni so that there are networks working quite well. And also there are really nice stories, what we hear from our alumni, that how their career is going on after graduating.
Yeah. And a colleague of mine, alumni officer, she tries to collect as many stories as she can. And it's very exciting to see what they're all getting to after their program. What are the prospects of studying PhD based on this MSc, or is it only for professional development? Laszlo, I think this one's for you as well.
That's another interesting question, and you might know already from the previous discussions that this is a new setup of the master program. We are starting in the next year, so in 2022, and this is a 1 year. We can also say practical master program, but there is another 2-year program under development, which will be called under the same name, by the way. But it will start with research master. So that will be a 2-year program and definitely aiming more for the PhD studies afterwards. So that will be a little bit more theoretical at the end. The thesis research part of that will be longer, more well-based towards a PhD research afterwards. So those who would like to go for this kind of academic career, I would say with a PhD, probably they could go for that 2-year program as well. So this program is mainly developed for practitioners, as it was mentioned. So it's a practical master program in 1 year. Of course, there will be some overlap between the two programs, and there will be also opportunity from going from one to the other, but still we have to work out all these details. The reason why we are only starting this 1-year program now is that we still have to work on the other one and add some more development in that one, and that will start in 2023, as it is planned.
I also believe that when pursuing a PhD, it's good to look at how many credit points you need for it, because some PhD programs, they accept MSc students with less credit points, and then also the 1-year master may be sufficient. So do look towards that as well. Yeah.
And that varies from country to country as well. So it's worthwhile to check it if it is enough or if it can be accepted as a master program for the PhD as a background.
Exactly. Thanks, Laszlo. If a degree was completed in English, is there a need for an English test? Interesting question, and I think I'll give this to you, Ineke.
Yeah, you can find our language requirements on the website. It is shown here. So there are a certain number of countries for which an exemption is made. So the countries shown here do not have to submit an English language test. But if you are from a country which is not on this list, then you need to submit an English language test. So you see the tests which are accepted by IHE, and the minimum requirement is shown on this same website as well. So it's a IELTS test or a TOEFL test. This is the test done mostly. And another thing to mention is if you are required to do an English language test, then it's important that you register for it as soon as possible, because it's a requirement for the scholarship to have an unconditional admission. So often those test dates are fully booked. So please do that in time.
Yes. Well, that's pretty straightforward. Thanks, Ineke. Can you apply for Erasmus Mundus for this program?
For this program, the Water and Sustainable Development, that's not an Erasmus Mundus program. If you're interested in an Erasmus Mundus program, we have 2 Erasmus Mundus programs which are now open for application. You'll find them on the website, flood risk management and groundwater and global change. And 2 additional Erasmus Mundus programs will also be offered starting in September 2022. We are preparing them now, and that's one in coastal hazards, risks and climate, and one international master in environmental technology and engineering, and they are expected to open mid-January. And for those programs, you can all apply for Erasmus Mundus scholarships.
Okay, thanks very much, Ineke. I'm looking to see, there's another question. I studied IWRM in UZ sponsored by WaterNet. Is it possible to do this program again? Different courses, of course. Prudence from South Africa. So I guess she's asking if she can do an international water resources management program with different courses within this master program. I think, of course, that's possible. Yeah, and then you can pick and choose subjects to your liking to fit what you want to achieve in the future.
Yeah. But does that mean that it was a full master program? So that's a question. But well, is it worth to go for another one? That's one question. But of course, if it was, so I don't really know that what integrated water resources management program was that. Was that just a short course or something like that? Of course, then it is possible. And well, even if it was a full master, it's possible to do another one. So that the answer would be yes. And of course, there are many other interesting fields related. So then it can be another track chosen and so on.
Yep. Thanks for that, Laszlo. I have a bachelor degree in architecture. Can I apply to the MSc and the track water and health?
We are back. I think we already had an architect.
Yeah, something architecture and environment, if I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was mentioned by Ineke, and I can strengthen that we really need detailed transcript to check this, and also the personal background, the professional experience. Was that related to well, in water and health track? There are several things which are related to urban water supply and things like that. So that can be, well, not really architecture related things, but depending on what kind of working experience the person has. And of course, as it was mentioned, when seeing the transcript, we can check that maybe some preparatory courses has to be followed and things like that. Normally, architecture is not really something which is straightforward application process for our programs, but well, it depends.
Okay. And there's one question. Can I pick the exact modules from one previous program, for example, water science engineering, if I was interested in it and make it my track?
Well, not really, because the previous program modules are running for the last time now. and actually they will not be followed again. So that the new setup and the new setup of the program, the entire program, it is changing. It is changing also with the different educational methods and so on. So the earlier program modules are not running as such parallel with the new program.
Okay. And I also see a question here if people can apply with the same documents next year. So I guess this question is, if you apply this year, would you be able to still, and you are accepted, would you be able to apply with the same documents in the year after, Ineke? Maybe you can share that.
Most documents will be the same. Maybe you will need a new recommendation letter. I think a fresh recommendation letter, you have to update your CV. But of course, the bachelor transcripts and diploma remain the same. And maybe you want to change a bit your motivation or decide to apply for other track or profile.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to submit a new application. It's not that you automatically get again an admission letter once you have been admitted.
Okay. That's clear. How much professional experience is needed for this master in terms of years or academic qualifications? So I think this is a question for Ineke, and it's similar to a question we've had before, but
About if
how
work
much?
experience is required. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
really required. It's an asset to have it. But if you do not have work experience, you can also, and you're very interested, you can also apply. And yeah, also young graduates, even if you have not yet graduated and are interested, you can apply. But then we need a statement that you will graduate before the financial confirmation deadline.
Okay. What is the total number of students expected to enroll for this master program? Well, maybe I can already answer this because we have no idea what we're expecting. It is a new master program, and I do believe that we are getting a lot of attention worldwide from students who want to join it. But of course, we have no idea how many people will apply in the end, and from that we don't know how many people will be accepted. And we do have, I think, a limit to the amount of students that we can have in is somewhere around, I'm not sure, is it 200 or 250 max because of the housing that we have available as well. But so there's a cap.
For master students, it's around 200 because we also
Yeah.
have the PhD students. So, well.
Yes, exactly. So there is a maximum that we can handle, I think, ourselves. But no, as far as I can see, also sitting from the communication office, there's quite a lot of interest in the program. So yes, if you want to enroll, please apply. When is the deadline for application? Yes, Ineke, that's a good one.
Yeah, the deadline of application is the 1st of July. Then you need to have submitted your application, and then the deadline for financial confirmation is the 1st of August.
Okay, but then that's only for applying to our master program, but then there's various deadlines for the various scholarships.
Yeah, and for the scholarships, yeah, it's good that you mentioned that indeed, because if you have to apply for a scholarship, then you really have to take into account the deadlines for scholarship application.
Okay.
And they are usually much earlier. That can already be in March and April, depending on the type of scholarship. So it's important that if you're interested and you have your documents ready, that you submit your application the soonest, the better.
Yes, so please do apply as soon as possible.
If you have not your English test ready, you can already submit an application, and it's not necessary to upload the English test with the application. So you can then submit the English test later, and you may already be given an conditional admission letter, and then you have to submit the English test results before the deadline of the scholarship.
Okay. So indeed, the sooner the better, also to allow you to apply for a range of scholarships and to be in time to join us. Are there any other questions coming in? I see we're also almost running out of time. There's about 3 minutes to go. I think we'll do one more question and then maybe we can wrap up this session. So are there any interesting questions left to answer? I see the architecture one again. Well, maybe just then to cover some top tips that we can already share with our students who want to apply to our master programs. I will share those just when we're closing off. Maybe for now, thank you, Ineke, very much, and Laszlo as well for joining us here and answering so many questions. I hope that everybody's been helped a lot. I know that we didn't cover all of the questions, but yeah, people will be able to, I think, ask questions through info@un-ihe.org. That email address will be shown later on as well and shared in the chat.
And look at frequently asked questions also on the
Definitely.
webpage. That's
yes.
Many times you find the answer there.
Yes, if you have any remaining questions, check there first, and do look through all of the material that we do provide on the website, and always check the fellowships page. And it sometimes changes when new fellowships pop up, so keep referring to it every once in a while. Not on a daily basis, but maybe every couple of weeks or so is probably a good idea. So thanks, Laszlo, and thanks, Ineke, for being here.
Welcome.
Welcome.
My pleasure.
And have a great evening. And I will wrap up if I can. Yes, I will start wrapping up this session because, oh yeah, there's some important dates being shown, and there's some top tips indeed being shared at the moment. So I will leave this on screen as I start to close this webinar. So thank you very much for joining us. I saw that there's a lot of people from around the world. So I'm very glad that you could make it. Thank you for all your questions. Feel free to continue asking your questions via info@un-ihe.org. And we look forward to welcome you to the Institute. So we hope that you are applying successfully. Good luck with your applications.